Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the Pixel Crashers Podcast, a podcast where we break everything right before we start the show and then are desperately trying to fix it in a 5-minute countdown timer. I'm Angelus de Mortiel, joined as always by KevN7,
Glorious Master Race,
who actually may be muted. You know, he doesn't know though. And also Xaiphen, as usual, who is over-caffeinated as hell, but, you know, we don't judge. So, oh god, that was so hopefully the stream title should be fixed now for everybody. But
rush Victor at the last second.
This is not, if you are watching this on July 28th, Saturday morning, it is not actually a rerun. Refresh your page and you should see the stream title change.
We should note that that's specifically for Twitch.
No, that's all of them. Because I hacked into Kev's. I thought I established that like a while ago that I've hacked all of Kev's social media, but in case anybody didn't know, I've hacked.
No, he hacked my Pornhub.
Yeah, I actually I deleted his Pornhub account. He has been distraught ever since. It's been a rather traumatic week for Kev.
No more Pornhub.
Although on a very happy note, I will say that
you making me waste this.
I'm very happy that Warframe brought back tactical alerts last night, which is part of the reason why I'm so not awake yet. Is because unfortunately I was up really late trying to complete that tactical alert. I blame Xaiphen. It's all his fault.
All Xaiphen.
It's done.
He broke everything. Yeah. So, and then hopefully I will be able to read chat here in a moment. So in any case, we have a few things to talk about here in a little bit, mostly revolving around everybody's favorite video game, being Black Ops 4, and then yeah,
I thought we meant a good game.
A good game. Well, yeah, that's not really the best game, but you know, we can also talk about, you know, Denuvo and its bullshit, and then also maybe if we have time, just because I wanna just throw some shade on here. We can talk about Nintendo Switch games tasting bad.
My question is, let's start with that. Whose bright idea was it to taste a Switch cartridge? You're putting SD games in your mouth.
The comical part on here is that
you have some good kids. I'm gonna put that out there right there.
My games are digital, so because I hate SD cards, I had to take this. There should be. I think I might have Breath of the Wild as an SD card. I don't remember. Yep. See, no SD card, all digital. It's glorious.
That piss was digital.
You have digital piss?
yeah.
Good. Oh, really?
You see all these games?
Yeah.
They are digital, sir. I don't even know if you guys can see these games on my glorious Switch. There we go. They're all digital, sir. Like fingerprinting.
Hey Kev, so Kev, how do Switch games taste?
I don't know, sir. You have to ask the moron that was eating Switch games.
No, you have to ask half the fucking journalists in the games industry who thought it would be a bright idea to taste it like a child. Like I'm baffled by the.
Well, let's be real here. They aren't the smart children.
No.
These are the kids that sit in the back of the classroom and sleep.
Yes. That is true. Yes. And actually, Nintendo confirmed that they do in fact use a bittering agent on Switch games. This was a long time ago, by the way. This is an old article, but I thought it was hilarious, and it adds some levity in the fact of how dumb journalists can be, and their clickbaitiness. Because essentially, at the end of the said article that I read on there, right after that, after they said, wow, Nintendo games taste awful. I tasted it, thought it tasted awful. This other person also tasted it. They agreed that it tasted awful. It's like, how many of you have to fucking...
tasted it?
You know, and then at the end of it, they're like, hey, join us on Snapchat where we will be tasting other things. And I'm like...
What? No.
What? Stop it. You are not fucking infants. Act like a goddamn adult. Anyway.
The bad habit of a lot of newspaper headlines like to create puns, and it's serious news too. It's not punny. You need to stop that shit.
It's not punny. It is fake news, and knock that shit out.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. It is sad that.
I'm going to turn my Switch off now because I'm having way too much fun looking at the eShop.
Look at Kev. He's buying loot boxes, and it's not even
like podcast.
I saw that the Mega Man Legacy Collection was on the Switch because it's broken on PC. I was like, oh, I'll wait for the Switch release. I thought it was going to get delayed on the Switch. Nope, it's right there.
No, because it's Switch, right?
Yeah, I mean usually Switch games get delayed.
That's true.
On the Switch.
But don't worry, you'll have to pay full price for them, like full $60. $60.
No, they're $20.
Oh, is that only Bethesda who charges fucking $60 for Skyrim on the goddamn Switch?
Do you know the outrage you would see if Nintendo tried to charge $60 for 20, 30-year-old games?
Like the outrage that Bethesda got from charging $60 for a 6-year-old game. And you know what? People still bought it because reasons.
I got it for free. So, just Master Race things. Excuse me. I can't control.
This is gonna be an endless thing of anytime we talk about any company, fuck that company.
Is he already on there?
We should just change the name of this to Fuck Everything Podcast.
Put up to a vote CD Projekt Red. You know, it's a company that, you know, most people think.
Kev doesn't like CD Projekt Red. He thinks they're rather amateurish.
They do?
Yeah, because we have to have one person.
God.
We have to have one person that hates some company that we talk about. You know, that's just the way it's got to work. Sorry, I have to, squinting to read the chat here, with my old eyes and stuff. I had to put my glasses on.
The chat pops out, right?
Don't judge me, okay?
Too late.
So, in any case, though, in other fun news, Kev, at one point in time, played a video game once, and he thought it was all right.
They had a lot of them.
Yeah, they were all right. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was life-changing.
It was a good time. Oh, no, they were life-changing. I had some life-changing games, like Mass Effect 2.
Mm-hmm.
Fallout 3. Right now I'm playing Frostpunk, which is amazing.
I want to get Frostpunk. Because I love my strategy games, obviously, and I love my builder games, because, I love Catharsis. Stellaris and Warhammer, Total War, and all my building and Forex games. So what's that game about, Kev?
It reminds me a lot of City Skylines in terms of that it's a city builder. If you can play City Skylines, you can probably play Frostpunk. I think it's a little simpler, but it's freaking brutal, man. You are basically like the world has gone through the snow apocalypse.
Snow apocalypse.
Snow apocalypse. Rather than nuclear apocalypse like in Fallout, you get the snow apocalypse. Everything is frozen, and you have this big ass generator and a village of people to keep alive as well as grow your community. You have to keep these motherfuckers happy and alive through building up your community. Mm-hmm. If they get too angry with you, I think they'll kill you. And I know if they completely lose hope, I did have them lose hope once on me, and then they banished me.
They got no fucking chill. No chill.
Mm-hmm. And they'll warn you too. They're like, okay, well, we've had enough. Our hope goes down too low, but it's a screwed up kind of mechanic, because it'll happen about the same time every time in the game. A random person will just come by and say, my village that we thought everybody was going to survive at has died. And your hope, I would have my hope at like 80%, and it would go all the way down to like 15. And like, all right, well, you got about a week to fix this shit. Like, damn. What? Yeah, you killed it because of and basically you have to already like have your shit so high and already be kind of set up to have everybody's basic needs met and just be upgrading it in order to get past that part. So I learned, like, I've already studied all my technologies, and now I'm just kind of gathering materials to build up my keep building my community at this point, because this run I did get past that part, my third run. But I haven't played it in a few days.
Yeah, that's I've the one thing about it though is that I was kind of weirded out by was the fact that you have a limited space to build within. Like, you only have this certain crater base to build in, right?
It actually works out to be a lot of space.
Okay.
And the idea is too that you're going to do a lot of upgrading. So, like, for example, the living conditions. At first you start off with tents, and then you could build like apartments, and eventually you build houses. And then once you have the house, and once, of course, as you upgrade, you get rid of like the tents and shit.
But I like tents. When it's cold outside, there's nothing better than like just a tent. Nothing else.
Insulated house.
No clothes. Nothing. Just tent. Thin tent too. I'm not talking about like
You'd be one dead Eskimo motherfucker.
I'm talking like that thin ass like polyester shit that you get from Walmart or something. I'm talking that primo quality tent. It doesn't even keep water out properly.
You're talking about the cheap, the ones that the Walmart people said was too cheap.
Yep, exactly. Dollar store grade. Dollar store grade.
Dollar store's like, oh, hey, this is the high end one. This dollar store.
that's the kind of tent that I like for a post-apocalyptic Frost world.
I just thought about something too, and this is kind of gonna go off the cuff a little bit. Might even lead into to another story. Fuck Activision. I know we were talking about this before. Fuck Activision Blizzard, and we were talking about it for the COD stuff. They took down the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. These games are classic on PS2, original Xbox. Or no, they were on the 360, the PS2, original Xbox, PS3, and the first one came out on PC when it first came out. They re-released them in 2016, and they released the PC versions broken.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this wasn't a remaster. This wasn't a remake. They ported the original Xbox or PS2 version, one of the two, to PC and to the new consoles. They released the PC version broken, never fixed it, and just removed it from Steam. And it's still broken.
Ouch.
They never fixed there was a bundle of the two games. Ultimate Alliance 1, the mouse and keyboard controllers were just really janky. It kind of controlled like Dota, and you had to do your attacks with the number keys on top, which is really weird. So it played like a MOBA, and yeah, that's how both games played. There were a bunch of really bad audio bugs in the second game, like the bass was just completely distorted, and nothing you could do to fix it. You just had to deal with the distortion. They never fixed that. And I guess there was some missing DLC, but they did fix that missing DLC issue. I heard. And they basically, in order to play, you have to use X input and an Xbox 360 controller and fix it within there. So actually, I take that back. It works with the Xbox 360 controller. It's the Xbox One controller you have to do that with, and I think the DualShock 4. So it has a lot of issues, and instead of fixing it, they just removed it from all the stores on all the platforms.
I mean, that's yeah.
It's probably a licensing issue, but I'm still mad that they didn't fix the fucking game. Because I love these games.
God, am I telegraphing that much?
Yes.
Yes. We're going on a fuck Activision rant. That's where this is going. That's what we're starting here. Fuck Activision. They can hold that.
Okay. Well, the cat's out of the bag. Let me go ahead and change the title that I was preparing there very quickly. Well, our story isn't just fucking Activision.
I know you want to talk about Blizzard too, but
no. What? Not just AB. We're expanding outside of the gaming industry supposedly. We're also gonna say fuck Xfinity too. Well,
yeah,
Comcast. Yeah, Comcast, Xfinity. Here's the thing. So first of all, yes, I am gonna go on a fuck Activision rant because Activision, to me, like, everybody throws a lot of shade on EA for a lot of their anti-consumer bullshit, and they're
well
right
deserved, by the way. Deserved.
Well deserved. They definitely deserve all the heat that they get. I'm not denying that. My problem is Activision does worse shit and gets away with it. That's the stuff like that really grinds my gears. Like, everybody throwing shade on EA for throwing in loot boxes, and it's like, what was it, Call of Duty World War II had the fucking, like, community loot boxes that you opened up or whatever that was like, and nobody said a word. Overwatch is literally the main way of progressing in that game is loot boxes. Like, nobody says anything. And yeah, that's Activision Blizzard, and like, they both release games that people generally have a pretty strong fan base behind. So no one ever kind of throws any shade on them or calls them out on their bullshit. It's the same problem I have with Valve, actually. So we'll say fuck Valve too. You know, throw that in there just so that we're getting a nice group. Everybody, like, since their fan bases are really loyal, they tend to not get as much criticism as they should.
Oh yeah, you don't want it with a Blizzard fanboy.
No, or Valve fanboys. They're about the same. They're all very, very passionate. And in their mind, their company can do no wrong. They literally, and it's because if we go a little philosophical here, it's because of a concept known as commodity self, where a person identifies and their identity is tied to the things they own. So they identify themselves as the things they own. So if you own Black Ops becomes part of your identity, and therefore you are more emotionally attached to it than you otherwise would be. But that's not where it ends. So it recently came out that Xfinity had worked out a partnership deal with Activision Blizzard to where people with Xfinity Internet get early access beta to, it looks like, at least the PS4 beta version of Black Ops 4. Yes, we're on 4. I am not keeping track. I haven't played a Call of Duty game since Modern. Well, I technically played a bit of Ghosts, but really haven't played a Call of Duty game since Modern Warfare 3. But yeah, so if you have Xfinity Internet, you get early access to a beta. Yes, you get timed exclusivity based upon your internet service provider. Which, by the way, if you'd like to sign up for Comcast Internet, don't worry, it's only a 2-year contract that you get locked into for wanting to play Black Ops 4 early. Only. Can't tell me that's not little fucking shady bullshit there.
Just a little bit, slightly.
My question to you guys on here, though, is what are your thoughts on Comcast starting to get themselves into the gaming space? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Fuck Comcast with a dirty dick.
Oh shit. You know what? Let me tell you how I feel about Comcast. I read this article. The municipality was. I'm so glad there's no fucking Comcast where I live. Not even a hint of it. Granted, you got to deal with the Time Warner or Spectrum, whatever the fuck they're called now. But you know, there's no Comcast where I live, so I'm grateful for that. I'm going to put that out there right now. But like, I read this article about Comcast shitting themselves in the fucking foot and whining to the FCC about it, trying to get laws passed so that they could get around their own fucking monopolistic bullshit. Yes, that just fucking happened. I want to say it's Oregon where this happened.
It was.
But this municipality, Comcast went ahead and installed Wi-Fi distribution nodes around utility poles. You know, a municipality right of way, without the permission. And there's laws in place by the municipality to go through a shitload of red tape to more or less shoot down competition, so Comcast owns the block. Well, they didn't go through that red tape. They just went ahead and fucking put up the Wi-Fi nodes. And the municipality is trying to shut that shit down. And so they're going straight to the FCC to get the FCC to create rules that municipalities have no control over their own right of way, just so that they can get around their own anti-competitive laws that they helped establish in a given area. How the fuck retarded do you have to be? Oh my God. Big business has gotten so big they don't even remember what the hell they did yesterday.
Well, last quarter, specifically.
Yeah, well, yeah, last quarter.
That's
oh yeah, because it's all about those quarterly numbers, baby.
Yeah, that's really the downside of it.
It's my thing with Comcast, and they're going to end up doing the same fucking shit in any industry they get into.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. More than likely.
I mean, Comcast is kind of a dumpster fire waiting to happen. No matter where they go. They are going to fuck everybody. They are not going to pull out. They are not going to use protection, and you're just gonna have to kind of take it.
Oh no, they are going to use protection in the form of a sandpaper condom.
The sad part is they still have plenty of fuel for that fire to keep burning, and there's not a damn person that is, there's people that want to put it out, but the people that want to put it out lack the capability, and the people that lack the capability are getting paid by Comcast to toss more fuel on that fire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's about right. Mm-hmm. I'm the sole person of our group here that is unlucky enough to have no choice but to have Comcast for internet,
Because Monopoly.
I can't fucking stand them because they overcharge like hell for subpar internet. And for a while, I
like their cable service. I do like their cable service.
Yeah, I don't have cable service, and I don't really have any desire to, because I get like maybe once every few weeks I get a chance to actually sit and watch some TV shows, and usually it's I want to binge watch one show. You know, like I've been recently on a kick with trying to get caught up with My Hero Academia, which is actually a really awesome show. I was kind of skeptical of it at first, and then as it's progressed, it's starting to become more and more badass as I'm watching it. Yes, I know everybody in the fucking anime world already knows this, but I don't watch that much anime, and I don't watch that much TV in general.
I don't watch a ton of TV either. I've talked about this. We've talked about this. I cord cut in 2012, but I still have friends and family who still left Comcast. My mother swears by Comcast. She actually thinks I'm being a bad husband by not getting Comcast because she thinks my family needs it, but that's another story. So I'll go to my mother's house and I still see the service that they offer for Comcast. So
yes, I found the best anime of 2016. Exactly my point. Yeah, I know I'm behind the curve just a little bit.
No, I'm behind the curve. Like I'm watching Full Metal Alchemist.
Brotherhood?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm behind the curve. I remember I finished Dragon Ball Z earlier this year. I haven't even started Super. I'm waiting until I can find a dubbed version.
Yeah, but
of the whole series.
Brotherhood is definitely one of the best animes.
Oh, Brotherhood has been amazing, and I'm only like 8 episodes in, I think, and it's been amazing.
It's dark. It's definitely not a kids show. It's very dark, very adult.
I've been watching it with my kids.
Oh,
it's been fun. It's been fun so far.
I mean, it started off even kind of darker than the original Full Metal Alchemist, but a lot of what it's dealing with, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it deals with some pretty emotional, real life shit, you know, that oftentimes gets kind of glossed over in a lot of animes, where it's like, oh, this is thing. For example, I personally think that Roy Mustang is one of the best characters in any anime ever made, and you won't understand why now, Kev, but you'll kind of get it as characters develop and things happen, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because where I'm at, Roy is kind of, and he's not a bad guy. I'm really indifferent on him. The episode I finished up on, the guy, he turned his daughter into some kind of dog.
Oh, that was another one of those moments in the show where you're like, you are a sick motherfucker. Yeah, like.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he turned his wife into it, and then he got to keep his money or his certification or whatever. They told him to test it again, and he turned his daughter into one.
Well, it's essentially he couldn't find any way to experiment on it, and so essentially the guy is so obsessed with his alchemy work that he fucking kills his daughter and turns her into
his wife.
And turns her into a what do they call it? What's the word? The Greek.
It's like some kind of dog.
No, it's a Greek. The Greek word for kind of that lion snake hybrid thing. Chimera. That's it.
Oh.
Kills his daughter and then traps her soul in this animal fusion chimera beast. And once Edward finds out about that, he flips his fucking
shit.
Yeah, like
rightfully so.
Well, yeah, like because he knew the little girl, he had met her, and then
she had played with them all day.
Yeah,
for a couple days.
And then he comes back later and finds that out, and I'm right there. Like, that shit's real right there. Like, I find out that happens, I'm fucking flipping my shit too. Like, so that's one of the things I loved about that, is that a lot of times I have an issue with a lot of stories, magicians, where I get really frustrated with the characters because it's not just one character. Several of the characters are so unbelievably stupid and illogical in every case that I want to throw shit at the screen. That's why I had to stop watching Magicians. Like, I love the idea of the Magicians. The show premise seems so cool, but goddamn, I wanted to choke half the fucking characters. Like, if you have one dumb character, okay, cool. You know, like, they're a plot device.
I think one point you're missing about the show Magician, so that they actually made a huge emphasis on and why the characters are fucked up the way they are, is because being in that world, like to be able to have that kind of talent, you're not right. You know, you're not altogether there. That's why a lot of them have like fucking chemical crutches left and right.
Well, no. It wasn't. The drug addict dude. I didn't have a problem with. Also, the teleporter guy, I thought was actually the best character in the show.
The thing is, you said the drug addict dude. They all have chemical dependencies.
That's true. But the one blonde chick, the main character guy. Now the main character girl, I can't remember her name. Towards the end of, I want to say season 2 is where I probably stopped watching. The development that she underwent, I sympathize with. I definitely think hers made sense. She was blinded by rage because some fucked up shit that happened. But the main character dude is this constant plucky moron that this is my main problem. He never fucking learns or develops as a character. He's always an idiot.
Goku.
Well, no, Goku, yeah. Goku develops and grows.
Goku is naive and carefree.
Yeah.
He is an adult child.
Yes.
That's what I say. He's a moron. He doesn't learn.
Well, Goku is an adult child, and he does learn combatively. He doesn't necessarily learn philosophically.
I'll give you that. Yeah, he does. He learns a lot in combat. I'll give you that.
But yeah, no, Goku learns physically very fucking well. But like Goku is, you know, he's an overgrown child, and that's part of the nature of his character is the innocence and naivety behind him. That's a very important part of him. Yes, I like Magicians too. It's a good show, and that's why I'm kind of arguing with Mort a little bit on this. Is like that one character, yes, is a huge detractor, but when you start looking at the show as a whole and the point that they made to try and emphasize the reason why people are so fucked up is if you had everything going great in your head, you wouldn't have the talent for it. To have the talent draws on your life, your mind being fucked up.
Yeah. The thing is that people can be fucked up.
Different levels of capability because of their different natural mental instabilities.
People can be fucked up, but there's a level of it's not so much having mental deficiencies or mental fractures and that sort of thing. It's the intelligence level that I find just so difficult to relate to. If one of them was a little bit dopey, right, and okay, and especially usually you don't make that the main character because usually they're kind of a comic relief. They add a little bit of levity because oh haha, look at the clown. They're a sideshow, right? But not only is the main character dopey and never learns and never grows as a character, but he's the main character and he's the sideshow clown. And so the main character chick, I thought her story was kind of much more powerful, and I could relate to the emotions going on there. Like there was just one fuck up to another fuck up on there, and her mistakes and the stupid things that she did, I kind of related to a little bit more and felt that there was a logical explanation as to why she went that way. But yeah, it just, I don't know. There's so many things, and then the whole how Reynold was handled, like yeah. Anyway, moving on from that. Anyway, my thing about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood though is that despite there's a lot of really bad shit that happens throughout the series, like the issue with what the hell is that guy's name? Show Tucker. Like the Show Tucker thing. And the interactions with the characters and the way the world reacts to that, it makes sense to me. Like, I can fathom it, I can relate to it. Well, not necessarily relate to it. I don't relate to a guy killing his daughter in order to further his scientific career. But I understand it. Like, I can make the mental leaps to see how he would do this. and then make the leaps to how Edward reacts and how everybody else reacts around him and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, so my ranting on the magicians aside, it's the characters in there are so they grow so much, they develop so well in a way that just, even though there's like kind of this quasi magic, well, alchemy, yeah, they try to make it sound sciencey, but they
it doesn't work.
Just the premise of Edward reading off the description of what constitutes a human, and he uses several different incompatible different measurements, like using volume versus mass, talking about the same substances. Kind of missed the whole sciencey thing there. Mm-hmm. Like, you say grams versus liters, talking about the same thing. Got to realize that gram is a measurement of mass, liters is a measurement of volume. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm a nerd. Anyway,
there's nothing wrong with it. I think they expect it to go over your heads. I mean, we see shit on shows like that all the time. Like like one cringy one I saw from a while back. I don't remember what show it was, where somebody said, "Oh yeah, companies don't store their data on servers anymore. They use the cloud."
Wow.
The cloud is a server you access on the internet.
Oh.
It's still a server.
It's still a server.
I was talking to somebody about that before, and he admitted, he's like, I don't know how that stuff works. And he asked me to explain it to him. It's like, oh, okay. He did not try to lead with something like that. He offered, he admitted to not knowing how it works instead of just.
And that's fine. I prefer it when people just say, I just don't know. Please teach me. Like, and for those of you that don't know, it's a very simple concept. A server is just a computer that's designed for multiple people to get onto and collaborate. The difference between it being in-house, like in your building, and on the cloud, is that you're accessing it from the internet. But other than that, it's conceptually the same. It's not hard.
Yeah.
You get called out.
Apparently that got caught on camera. I didn't miss that. But anyway,
I saw your checks.
Apparently I didn't move it low enough. Yeah, no, that's I think that there's something to be said about how storytelling gets handled by a lot of shows. Like, for example, like, we all know the joke of, like, say, we all have varying degrees of IT knowledge here. So, when we see a movie like Hackers, we all, like, chuckle, like, that's not how that shit works at all. But, it's kind of, it's more with the entertainment value, right? But there are shows that try to purport to be accurate. My favorite one is, I'm hacking the encryption on their firewall. Right.
Press X.
Right. Okay. You have fun. You have fun hacking the encryption on the firewall. Yeah, no.
You're sure that's not how firewalls work?
Yeah, no, it's not. That's not how firewalls work at all. And good luck hacking the firewall. But whatever. In any case, the thing is that in many cases, I can kind of suspend my disbelief whenever, like, there's really inaccurate shit thrown out there. Like, for example, with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I kind of chuckled, like, yeah, you kind of goofed up the science, but the rest of the story is so goddamn good that whatever. Dude, you can throw in grams and pounds and feet and liters and just, like, mix up imperial and metric measurements, whatever. I don't even care. The story is good. I think that's what it's about. And yes, that is Morty ignoring his normally pedantic comments. Anyway, moving on, though, to a nice, wonderful segue to one of
No Man's Sky?
Sure, we can talk about No Man's Sky.
I was joking. Everybody's saying it's good now.
Everybody's saying it good, except for the people that aren't saying it's good.
I got rid of
Let me rephrase that. It's gone to very positive on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
most people and everybody that I've heard that's tried it again says, "Oh, it's amazing now." Now I'm still telling Sean Murray to hold his L. If you see me on Twitter, I'm constantly throwing this guy smoke.
Yep.
Constant. It doesn't stop. I see his name. I'm like, don't trust the lie. The cake is a lie.
Well, and the thing is that Sean Murray unfortunately had a bit of a rough start, and I definitely criticize the hell out of his marketing. His marketing's bad. Andra, hello, good morning, welcome to the podcast. But yeah, I think that there is definitely some criticism to be had on his bad marketing, but I don't necessarily think that he's a bad person or in any way he was being malicious on it. I'm pretty certain that he just generally sucks at at trying to market shit. Huh?
Life?
Yeah, at life, sure. But no, I actually want to talk about something that's far more salacious and oh my, Denuvo and their funness. So Denuvo, one of the people that is regularly, I think at least a couple of versions of Denuvo, there's a group called Revolt that the founder actually supposedly has some kind of legal action surrounding Denuvo and his group that has been cracking Denuvo's software on there. So essentially what it was, and the reason why I'm using vague terminology on there is because there's a bit of divergence in statements between both the founder and Denuvo. Denuvo pretty much makes it sound like they got this guy arrested, he's going to prison, like the government's throwing the book at him as a cyber criminal, etc., etc., etc. And the
irony of that, and Denuvo should be considered a cybercrime.
Yeah, like Denuvo itself should be, but you know, the thing is though, is the actual guy said no, he wasn't arrested. He actually voluntarily went to the police to make a statement. He voluntarily allowed them to inspect his computer equipment and that sort of thing. And there's no criminal charges pending, but there could be a lawsuit. So essentially, that sounds like there's a bit of I'm not sure if it's corporate spin doctoring here or if I honestly have no idea who is being honest in this case, because I could totally see a company having the sway to get a government to arrest somebody and press criminal charges for, but I literally do not know if that's the case or not. So I don't know. What do you guys think that? Well, I know Kev thinks that Denuvo should be considered a cybercrime, but
hate crime against PC gamers.
Yeah. So first of all, Xaiphen, what's your thoughts on Denuvo?
You're gonna have to get back to me on that one.
While he quickly Googles Denuvo,
I distracted from the conversation here.
Xaiphen's like, what? We were talking about stuff. But no. So, Kev, do you think that that there should be, if a company wants to press criminal charges on someone for altering their software without permission, do you think that should be something that's handled in a criminal court, as in put you in jail, not sue you for money, but actually put you in jail for it?
Nah. But then again, I don't think there's a lot of things that you should get put into jail for. Like, if you ain't hurting nobody, you ain't stealing nothing, no, why are they putting you in jail? Like, I don't think they should put you in jail. For example, I drove on a suspended license. Give them a fine. Don't put them in jail.
I think that makes sense. Me. They get caught with marijuana. Stop putting them in jail. Stop putting them in jail for marijuana. It's a waste of everybody's fucking money.
No, if you want marijuana, move to Seattle. It's legal here.
Or Oregon. Or Colorado.
Or what about half a dozen
Certain
different
parts
states.
of California.
There's actually like I think like 4 states now where it's legal. But Oregon and Washington, recreational marijuana is legal. And I believe Colorado recreation is also legal. I can't remember all the other ones that have it, but yeah. So yeah, and there's marijuana shops all over the place here, to the point where actually the market's a little oversaturated. So here's my thing. First of all, little rant before anybody says, "Well, I hear you guys saying that people should be put in jail for stealing stuff, and this person's cracking software that's anti-piracy, and piracy is theft."
Piracy is not necessarily theft.
Piracy is not necessarily. It's not theft. Period. There is no interpretation of digital piracy in which it is theft. The reason why that the two have different terms and they're considered two different not so good things. Theft is removing a physical object from someone's possession in preventing them from having it. Like, you take I take something from you, you no longer have that something, and
I come your laptop.
yeah, like I steal Kev's headphones. He physically no longer has those headphones, and I now have those headphones in my possession. That is theft, unless he gave me permission, in which case then it's borrowing with the intent to never return them.
Still theft.
Yeah, that's still theft. No, it's the thing is that it's if he doesn't give me permission, I take his headphones, the physical object, and he no longer has those headphones. That's theft. If I take a piece of like, let's say Kev writes a document, publishes it, he owns the rights to it, it's published, it's copyrighted, whatever. I take it and make a copy of it. He still has that thing, that digital copyrighted item. I make a copy of it and I start handing out to people so they can also enjoy this thing that he made. That's not theft. That's not theft. That's piracy. He still has possession of this digital item. It is not a physical item, digital item. And he owns the rights to it, true, and therefore he can seek legal action against me for piracy, not theft. The big thing is I'm pretty certain that I can't remember if piracy is actually a criminal offense. It may I can't remember if it's just civil or not. But
that's to throw a third thing into here too, which you don't really deal with as much on digital products as you do with physical products, but there's a third factor which piracy is closer to this than it is theft: counterfeiting. Counterfeiting is another effect in here too, because this actually reminds me of a video I was watching from, what the hell is his name? Louis Rossmann. He was talking about Apple's issue with, he's discussing right to repair. Apple's issue with claiming that refurbished products were counterfeit. And that's the thing that you get into companies with like this. They try to claim that they're being hurt, that they're in the wrong, that somebody's doing damage to them. And they're not. Like, your point of theft, like, nobody's actually taking anything directly from you. And of course there is the bigger issue that, companies like to claim that they're losing money. Well, like Microsoft, I believe, has actually been seeing some, closer to real statistics on this with the more or less free Windows 10. They're a good example of a company because they, for the most part, on the top, obviously they make money in the background, but on the surface of things, no pun intended, they were no longer charging for a software that they used to directly charge for. So they could actually see potentially see the difference between what kind of effect pirating was having on their business. If it was just a matter of like, okay, people would buy something or they would get it for free, but they would, no matter what, they would have to have it. That's the argument against pirating is no matter what, these people are going to want to own this product or have a licensed copy of this product or unlicensed copy of this product. They're either going to pay for it or get it for free if they don't have to pay for it, or if they, why would you pay for it if you can get it for free? That's their argument on this. In a lot of cases is these people can't afford the product no matter, can't afford the product. They may or may not want it. But if they can't afford it, then they're just going to do without, as opposed to, look for the pirated option or something else like that. If you remove the pirating option on there, it's not going to force them to buy. They're just going to find an alternative instead. And that's likely the case on some of these situations. And I would really love to see Microsoft's numbers, the change on pirated software when they started migrating from, granted, yeah, Windows 10 still has a price tag on it, but there it takes a little bit of work, but you can still legitimately get Windows 10 for free. And I said legitimately, not pirating it. You can run Windows 10 for free in many different ways. And so I'd like to see their numbers, their money lost versus money earned, so on and so forth.
You mean without the watermark?
Either way. There was the obvious upgrade option, which they were shoving it down your throat from the beginning, but years later there was the accessibility upgrade option, which I'm not sure that actually has been closed. That you may still be able to do it that way without the watermark. Then there's the watermark. It's still functional, and it doesn't cost any extra money on the front end for the average user. And I'd be curious to see what their numbers are, because that would be a very defining moment for a company if they actually research the nitty-gritty of it instead of just looking at top-end numbers. Exactly how piracy, because Windows is pirated in the past, all the way back to in the 90s. People have pirated Windows. So I'd be curious, because they've kind of made a dynamic surface cost change on their product. I'd be curious to see how much pirating was really affecting their business model.
Yeah, there's been a commonly thrown around term. I think where I heard it the most was the late Total Biscuit, was he would always talk about the lost sale fallacy, which isn't necessarily a fallacy, but it was an argument that was often used by Ubisoft, for example, where they would say, oh, it's theft. Like, piracy is theft, and the reason why is because people that are pirating won't buy the game, and therefore we've lost the sale, it has a monetary impact, etc. Except there's no way that you can prove one way or another that a person that pirates the game would or would not have bought the game, whatever the case. Like, there's no way to actually demonstratively prove that. However, and there's many different scenarios. Some people pirate because they just want something for free. Like, maybe they don't have money, or they just don't feel like they should pay it. They feel entitled to free shit. Whatever. That's kind of
people are like that.
That's the stereotypical. That's what companies want you to think all pirates are. Is the person who just feels entitled to free shit. That is not the majority of pirates, though.
A lot of pirates do buy stuff. They tend to be high consumers. They use a lot of products of said whatever, be it movies, music. They intake a lot of it. They buy some of it. They pirate some of it.
Well, some of it's also service related. Like,
a lot of them are. Like Ubisoft games, a lot of people pirate because they don't want to deal with Uplay.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with the Uplay. Then there's also cases where you have it where the price for that game in the company is so ridiculously marked up. Like, for a while that was the case in Brazil, is the games were so expensive comparative to people's wages there. It was literally not feasible for people to pay for video games there unless you were very well off. And as a result, piracy levels skyrocketed in Brazil. And also now that's why you see prices actually tend to be fairly low in Brazil now, is because that's them trying to compensate. That's how the market works, right? That's
or even like a game like COD. Like I pulled them up on Steam because when I buy COD games, the older ones in particular, I buy them on G2A. The reason I buy them on G2A because for some reason Black Ops 2 is still $60.
Yeah, that's another service.
It's like a 5-year-old game.
Yep. Like
I'm looking at Black Ops 1 right now, an 8-year-old game. It'd be 8 years old in November. It's still $40.
Yeah, and where you also get other service-related ones is, for example, nobody does demos anymore. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. Some actually do demos.
Some games have demos. Prey had a demo.
Yeah, like as I throw shade on Activision Blizzard, I'm pretty certain all of Blizzard's games, maybe not Overwatch, but I know that Diablo, World of Warcraft, I think Destiny, several of their games on PC have a demo. Have some way for you to play a limited, short version of the game in order to get a taste for it. But the large majority of games do not offer any such thing. And as a result, people might pirate it to see if they'll like it. If they like it, they'll buy it. And I've heard that very, very frequently.
I cannot remember what it was I actually did that with a while ago. I don't know. I don't even think it was a game. I think it was some other software. I like the price behind it was a little steep to not know if it was going to work. Yeah, it was I think it was a utility software. It's not. I didn't know if it was going to work the way I wanted it to. The price was steep just to test it out. I may have been able to get a refund or not, but I didn't really want to fuck around with that. So yeah, I pirated it, and it turned out it was something that was incredibly useful for me. Ditched the pirated copy and went and paid for it.
I think that's a lot of it. The other service-related issue, oftentimes I find, is in general whenever people will have issues with the way that games are often handled by their companies. Like you said, getting around like Uplay, or for example, it's a game that's extremely laden with microtransactions. And this is, I believe, someone did this early on with Star Wars: The Old Republic. There was I vaguely remember something about a lot of copies being pirated of that because people didn't feel like they should have to pay upfront for a game and then also pay a subscription for the game. Maybe that was another game that maybe it was WoW or something. I don't remember what game that was, but it was a game that charged you up front and then charged you a subscription fee, which was kind of the WoW model up until very recently. They actually got rid of the, I think, the initial price tag for World of Warcraft, but you still have the subscription. So, I mean, that's the thing. But the thing is that a lot of times piracy rates or claims of piracy that I see doesn't necessarily mean actual piracy. Just people talking about piracy rates tend to go down whenever a company is very pro-consumer and goes out of their way to try to earn sales from a consumer. Like, kind of how CD Projekt Red handled it with Witcher 3. I heard very few people talking about pirating The Witcher 3. It has, on PC, no DRM. It has no, they give you a lot of free shit for your purchase, like free DLC, extra shit in the game. And then they have 2 paid DLCs, which are well fucking price. So it's a fair request from them to say, hey, we really are trying to give you as much content as we possibly can for this money, and we're asking to pay for it. And people look at it and they're like, yeah,
this is fair.
This is fair.
They're giving us good value for our money.
And that's a lot of the way that I think game makers should be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get Mass Effect 3 with the From the Ashes DLC.
That still hurts, bro.
That's
6 years later, that still hurts.
That still stings. That on disc day one DLC bullshit, pre-order bonus nonsense should have been in the game. Yeah,
it was funny. I remember when that happened. I damage controlled it on the on BSN, and the only reason I damage controlled it is because I had the collector's edition. Because it came with the collector's edition. But then even then, like there was stuff I wasn't getting. I got my collector's edition from GameStop. There were then there was other stuff that you had to get from like EB Games and stuff you could get from Amazon
Everything.
or at Best Buy. Yeah, that was a lot of nonsense. That was EA being EA, and it's ridiculous. Then you found out, oh well, if you get it on Origin, you can get all that shit anyway. Like I think you can buy the collector's edition to this day. It's called something else on Origin, and it'll just come with everything.
Yeah, and now it will.
It did when I bought it 4 years ago.
Yeah, well, and the thing is that they eventually included it in there. I think it was largely that early on they kind of shot themselves in the foot multiple ways. With that, the Day 1 DLC with that, the ending, like...
And let's not forget about the collection. When you bought the collection, it didn't come with the Mass Effect 2 DLC.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, I think you got Zaid, but you had to pay for Kasumi, you had to pay for the Arrival, and you had to pay for Lair of the Shadow Broker.
Yeah, which, in the thing, if I'm remembering it right, it was the Arrival DLC, right? Like, had major story implications. Like, kind of, from my perspective, and I don't know this for certain because this never actually happened, but my thought is that had CD Projekt Red made Mass Effect 3, From the Ashes DLC would have just been in the game. You know, it
should have been.
It would have been part of the game. And then the Citadel DLC and the Citadel DLC would have been paid. I'm trying to remember all the DLC. That's where I'm having difficulty.
I would have had the Citadel DLC and Omega be paid.
But the
the Arrival I'm on the fence about.
No, that's the Arrival was in Mass Effect 2.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of Mass Effect.
So Omega and the Citadel DLC would have been paid, but Leviathan DLC would have been free because that was a paid DLC and that had like major story interactions with it, and like it fleshed out the Reaper storyline much better. It should have been just included, right?
See, I think you can happily play Mass Effect 3 without Leviathan.
You
I think
can,
it's
but it adds further depth. And my thing is it's a direct tie-in to the main quest, whereas Omega and Citadel both are side things. You see what I'm saying there? Like, if the DLC is more or less just adding further depth to the main quest of the game, it should be a free DLC. You know, just to it's a, hey, by the way, we forgot this little extra tidbit. Here, let's just give you some free extra content to add some depth into your game. Whereas Omega, right, that's a whole different little storyline about Arya taking back her station, right? And Citadel is that little clone story arc. Both are completely not related to the game, to the main storyline at all. Yes, you have the overtones of that story happening in the background, but they're like their own little side quest.
Right. Now, I mean, if we think about it like in your terms too, then let's go back to Mass Effect 2.
Mm-hmm.
Lair of the Shadow Broker and the Arrival.
Arrival should be free. Lair of the Shadow Broker should be free.
I'm thinking no, because then you find out, okay, if you didn't play Lair of the Shadow Broker, then Liara's story in Mass Effect 3 makes absolutely no sense.
That is true, and that's kind of a difficult part. Arrival directly links into the main storyline. It's like
yeah, because the story of why Shepard's in jail doesn't make sense unless you play the Arrival.
Mm-hmm. Like, why is he here? No, I don't know. Because he was saving people in Mass Effect 2. Like, no, he blew up a goddamn mass relay to stop the Reapers, which inadvertently killed hundreds of thousands of people. Okay, That's some shit that you get arrested for. Saving people from the Collectors, that shit don't get you arrested. I don't care if you're gallivanting around on a like copied military ship, whatever. That would get you a slap on the wrist, and people be like, "Yeah, we know you're quote unquote in trouble, but you know what? Hey, here's a little handshake in the back room, right?" Mm-hmm. But what happened in Arrival? Yeah, that would get someone arrested. Like,
yeah, because that at that point you got to, because that's potentially starting a war. That's
an international, an intergalactic incident that got started.
Basically, it's an international incident. We know what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that one I get down with. Yes, Slayer of the Shadow Broker definitely fleshes out Liara's story a bit more. But one could say that without that DLC, Layer of the Shadow Broker story still happens anyway in the background, just without your involvement. And then she shows up and you just have less depth at it. Well, yeah, so I that's a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, see, because if you're going to say that it has less depth, therefore it's not as important, I would go back to Leviathan, because I think Leviathan, it sits in the same space.
Yeah,
I would
you're right.
say that, okay, here's the thing, is I don't have personal experience with this game. But my point is, individual character development, independent of the main plot, that could be warranted charge for. But whether or not it's main character, sub-character development, whatever it is that directly affects the main plot, continuing into sequels absolutely should be included.
Yeah. I mean, Liara, her stuff doesn't necessarily... Lair of the Shadow Broker doesn't have a major impact to the main storyline, as it were. It's just her presence in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, her presence, it adds depth. It talks about why she didn't join you in Mass Effect 2. However, if you didn't play Lair of the Shadow Broker, yeah, you could continue on. The same way with Leviathan, you don't really need the depth on the Reapers. It helps.
I think
it helps you just want to flesh out the story a little bit, but I don't think it's pivotal for the main plot of Mass Effect.
The way I kind of look at it is, I guess the way I'm kind of looking at it is how Xaiphen said it. He actually kind of clarified it well. Is it adding depth to the main quest or to a character? Right. So, like, for example, Zaid and Kasumi, those be paid.
If that's critical to the plot, then absolutely. But if that's the depth to the character is not critical to the main plot, then it is warranted to be not default included.
And that's where we go back to Zaid and Kasumi. They are totally not needed for Mass Effect 2.
Yeah,
anything
they are extra.
The main plot should be default included.
And that's where I'm talking about Lair of the Shadow Broker, is that while it is pivotal to Liara's development and depth to her character and explaining some stuff with her, it is not pivotal to the main quest, the main story, the Reaper arc.
Okay, and I think this kind of this goes back into a larger topic of still what should be and should not, what constitutes a charge for DLC.
Yeah.
What should be and shouldn't be free DLC.
Yep.
And that's something that we could probably do a whole episode on.
Yeah. Well, and my thing is that kind of to wrap it up full story, it's not necessarily that there should be free DLC, or there shouldn't. I feel that a company wanting to make money off of their work is perfectly fair. You put in the hours, you put in the work, and you want to charge for it. Nah, man, I'm right there with you. I guess where I kind of look at it as it's more of a business strategy, and this is where it ties back into piracy. That yes, you want to get paid for your work, but if you charge people for every little thing, if you nickel and dime them for every little thing, overall that's going to hurt the brand image, and people are going to, in the long run, pay less money for things because they feel like they're being nickeled and dimed, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of where you have to kind of balance things out.
That's where a lot of the DLC problems come in the first place, with the paid costumes, the loot boxes, all of the day one DLC. And remember, people don't. And what's funny too, people didn't get mad about Zaid. Zaid was day one DLC.
Yep.
But nobody talks about that. We talk about From the Ashes because it was a Prothean, and the Protheans, of course, a big deal in the universe. They were the last big civilization.
Yeah.
So to get the interact and work with a Prothean, and while I think you could totally play Mass Effect 3 without it, it adds so much to the story though to have the Prothean with you.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Javik adds so much.
I don't think that Zaid on disc DLC as well.
Yes, you had to have the Cerberus code to get them.
Okay, I was trying to remember on there because I knew that the big thing also with From the Ashes was that it was literally on the fucking disc. There was nothing to download. It was content that was part of the game that was literally cordoned off behind a pay code. And that was a lot of the big complaint on there. And I can definitely understand that. But if someone is not locking it behind that, it is tough. You have to look at it from a big picture. You know, what DLC what is your, first of all, part of the issue I have with the way that BioWare seems to be doing a lot of things kind of late, or at least with the last 2 games they released, has been a kind of a let's finish the game and then just release DLC until it's not making money anymore and we cut service, right? Or in the case of Andromeda, no DLC.
Well, no DLC because we thought that we couldn't make money off of it. Let's be real about that.
Well, no, it was a business decision. They knew they couldn't make money off of it. They have some in-depth analytics tools that they can use to determine the profitability. It's not so much that people wouldn't buy the DLC. It would be the cost to produce it matched against the potential earnings of said DLC and the percentage of profit that would be made. That's really what it is. And if, say, okay, they broke even, or they made 5% profit over the top of what it costs, that's not worth it to them. They need a little bit higher numbers than that because EA's publicly traded and they need to post certain profit margins. Mm-hmm. So that's where that decision gets made. And I don't. And
that kind of comes down to something that I was talking about. I talked about this on Twitter a little bit too. With these companies, and people think that, you know, a lot of these companies are just anti-gamer. It's not that. It's that their investors oftentimes are anti-gamer. Mm-hmm. Like, their investors are their number one clients and customers first and foremost.
Yeah, that's what their customer is. You know, is
right. It's investors. It's like, why do consoles charge for paid online? Because or why won't Xbox get rid of it, even though it's free on PC? It's not because Microsoft favors PC gamers. That's what a lot of people seem to think. It's because, well, they make billions of dollars off of that. If they go and tell their investors, hey, we're going to make $1 billion less next year because we're giving this service away for free, and we're not going to supplement it with something else, no, shut up. We don't want to talk to you anymore.
Well, you also got to.
Let's talk to this next guy that's going to keep it going.
Well, that's the thing is that you know, they don't make a huge amount of profit off the hardware of the consoles because they're subsidizing the shit out of those so that they can hopefully make more money off the games. The same thing with PlayStation 4 and possibly also the Switch. The hardware.
Even pre-built computers are like that. Why do you get all this bloatware that you really don't care about on your new laptop? Because they're subsidizing that cost by selling it out to third parties.
Yeah,
selling your hard drives essentially, or your computer out, bro.
Yeah, it's the way, and that's the way they do it in order to offer you a $500 or $400 console that might otherwise cost with R&D costs, because it's not just about what chip does it have or what power supply or what motherboard does it have. It's also that there's a lot of proprietary components in there that they've developed specifically for that console, like a proprietary software, proprietary RF chips for the controller setup, you know, that sort of thing. Those all cost extra money. Even the case design, that case might cost, for all we know, it could cost, when you roll in all of the R&D to develop it, the focus testing and that sort of thing, it could cost $150 for that fucking case. And they're now charging $250 for the Xbox, right? And that's, by the way, why the costs drop off over time, is because they recoup the R&D costs to develop the console. And so essentially they have a certain profit margin they need to maintain. Well, not a profit margin. It's sometimes a loss margin. You know, they're selling the consoles at a loss. And as the R&D costs are recouped, and they can then drop the actual price and keep that same loss margin, and then subsidize that with the Xbox Live expectations and that sort of thing. Yeah.
I think that's also why Sony started this generation, because their investors saw, oh, look how much money Sony or Xbox is making off Xbox Live.
Yep.
Why aren't we charging?
Yep.
People expected it to be free. It's like, no, investors just wanted your money for absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
And it's why it's never going away. Or why their games come on which call it, on Uplay, though nobody likes Uplay DRM, because it keeps Ubisoft investors happy to have Uplay around.
Yep.
Even though the rest of us can't stand it. Denuvo is the same way. Why do I have to deal with Uplay and Denuvo on Assassin's Creed Origins, which I beat last weekend, by the way? Because again, it makes their investors feel better knowing that they have 2 layers of DRM. So now, like when I played Assassin's Creed Origins, I had to deal with Steam, Uplay, and Denuvo. That wasn't fun.
Yep. No, and largely the thing is that yes, corporate business can be bullshit. But yes, it is kind of the way of the world. The thing is that what most people don't realize, because they don't really care to consider this, is that what corporate businesses do, the reason why they do those things, because we give them the power to. They wouldn't be able to do it if they did not have money. Where do they get money? They get it from selling shares. Where do they get selling shares from? By posting good profit numbers from selling to consumers.
That's as long as we have a choice. And if they provide a critical service like internet, and they're the only option out there.
Right back around, full circle. Perfect.
Comcast.
What I did there. That's and that's why if there is good competition, not price fixing competition, good competition, you can get away with less regulation. The less competition there is, the more government regulation there needs to be. Uncorrupt government regulation.
That's the trick there.
The
thing is,
that is a sense of ideal that is only rarely achieved.
And honestly, it's a tricky thing, and this is where I kind of the centrist in me comes out. It's like it's a trick trying to balance the government regulating business in such a way to where all it does is it keeps the markets kind of fair and open for everybody, right? So that no one person can prevent another company from doing business with a similar product, right? Part of the reason why a lot of times I think copyright and patent laws kind of need to be re-looked at, because they get pretty fucking vague sometimes to the point where they might be anti-competitive, and that's another facet of things.
Well, the business world as it stands in 2018 is anti-competitive.
Oh, in general, it's because corporatism has largely taken over. It's people say that this is somehow capitalism. You don't realize what capitalism actually is.
It's been an issue for over 100 years. That's why original antitrust laws were formed.
That's in general, like capitalism in general is just a kind of, it's a very natural law of the jungle kind of model. Survival of the fittest in the consumer market. Essentially, if you make the best product or market it the best, sometimes you don't even make the best product, Apple. You just market it the best. People buy your stuff and not your competitor. Your competitor has to either sell something else, get good, or they go out of business. And that's the way it works. And you could have someone else who just comes in and they have a brilliant idea that bests your idea, or some better marketing strategy that does better than your marketing strategy. And they all of a sudden pop up and start selling more shit than you. And now you, being the former top dog, Microsoft, have to now rethink
Fortnite, PUBG.
Yeah, have to rethink your strategy and adapt, and that's the way it should work. However, that's not.
Pretty much it works when there's free availability of choice.
Like I said, as long as regulation is only there to create the environment of open and free and even competition. But that's the tricky part is, and I'm not saying that I have the answer on that, because that is tricky. Trying to find that balance of not over regulating, where you are forcing certain businesses like to take a hit in order to make other businesses better, right? That's not the ideal goal, because that's off balancing things.
Yeah.
But you should let them kind of compete freely, but you should try to kind of be the referee, right? Kind of like in a sports game. You gotta be the referee. You gotta be that guy that stands in the middle and says, "Nope, you guys are getting a little too rough. I need you to take a step back, cool your heads off, and then we'll start over again." That's how the government should act, but again, that's not really how it actually operates. So,
I mean, they do until somebody says, "Hey, I could drop $50K on you.
Mm-hmm.
To do what I want you to do."
I can make sure you keep your job with a shitload of money going into your campaigning.
Well, no, actually, there's some cases where that's not even the case. Namely, Ajit Pai, who he's not an elected official.
Egypt Pie.
Yeah, Egypt Pai. He's not.
Egypt Pie for the L.
Yeah, he's not an elected official. He's an appointed official, so he can just take all the back end kicks, and there's no campaign contribution laws to block it.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, eat shit pie.
Yeah. I don't necessarily have any evidence that he's taking kickbacks from internet service providers, except by his actions, which his actions very much are favoring internet service providers. Now, conversely, the FCC did rule to block the merger of what was the damn it, now my brain is going dead. The two major telecom providers, I think it was Sinclair and someone else. They did block the merger of that, which would have created a virtual monopoly on regional broadcast networks. Most people don't know who Sinclair is. Sinclair actually is the Comcast of regional TV broadcast providers. They own a whole bunch of regional channels. Chances are, if you're watching the local news on like your channel 6 CBS or whatever, chances are it's owned by Sinclair.
So it's just CBS everywhere, and then each city has its own number.
Yeah, I can't remember if they own CBS or if it's Fox.
I'm using CBS as an example. You say NBC, Fox, ABC, whatever.
Yeah, well, there's a difference. Fox. So you have ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, I think, are the four. Maybe not Fox. I can't remember if Fox is included in that. But I know you have ABC, CBS, and NBC are the three, I think, what are they called? Broadcast networks. And then you have regional rebroadcasters of that. Sinclair owns a large amount of those regional rebroadcasters. And that's where the concern is that they were going to buy up and merge with another large regional broadcaster, which would have given them like 80% of the United States regional broadcast market. It was insane. It was like, yeah, no one's gonna say anything about this. And of course, the FCC actually blocked it, and unsurprisingly, a certain Cheeto was angry about that. I don't know. Anyway.
Was that a Donald Trump shot?
Our political system has turned into a fucking reality show.
You know what's funny? We were talking about that at work yesterday. We were like, it's basically a reality show now. Ever since Trump's been in office.
Xaiphen, I know, has seen this, but the movie Idiocracy is great, because I saw it, and a lot of people were like, oh yeah, whatever, it's comedy or whatever, and I'm like, no, this isn't a comedy, this is a horror movie, because I see this as being a legitimate direction that society could go. Like, oh man, that's some scary shit, man. But yeah, so in any case, let's go ahead and get rolled into final thoughts on here. Kev, final thoughts.
Fuck eat shit pie. Loot box! Because Forza's removing loot boxes. That's good news. Other than that, if you're not following me on Twitch, you should be. Twitch.tv/KevN7 Gaming. I'm wanting to do a lot more streams there, going right now at least at 7 p.m. Thursday and Friday, and then of course we'll be hosting the podcast there at 10 a.m. on Saturdays, and I'll be probably doing my own streams there on Sunday mornings at 10 as well. Join me. Glorious.
Yeah, Xaiphen. Final thoughts.
I don't have anything to shill out for because, yes, I have channels. I have Twitter.
Send Xaiphen gifts on Warframe.
Yeah, gifts on Warframe. I like it. Warframe gifts. I don't care. I like Warframe.
Get Xaiphen to make Warframe content.
I feel weird
Make
about gifts.
Warframe great again by giving Xaiphen extra shit.
Make Destiny great again.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
No.
Fucking Activision.
Yeah, sorry, Kev. Destiny, especially once Fortuna and Railjack comes out, Destiny just gonna look like a kid's toy.
Why did you have to say it? Just mentioning it.
Railjack.
Now, my final thoughts is thank you very much. Now it's stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
Oh, I haven't heard that in a while. I'm gonna have to go watch that again because of reasons.
Repeat.
Yeah, it's just on repeat over and over again. Actually, just
Switch life.
Just because I have to just anyway. So let's see on here. Let me real quick on here in the chat because I'm a dick. This is how I roll. For everybody watching on Twitch and all the children all around the world, I have a present for you because I'm so nice. Nice and or a dick. It's gonna be stuck in your head forever now. You're welcome. Everybody enjoy.
Something tells me you got rickrolled.
And I just want to remind everybody that we all lift and we're all adrift together. Together.
Like I said, I haven't annoyed this people this much with listening since Kill Bill Volume 2 came out.
Yep, exactly. So in any case, obviously everybody's watching. Look at Kev fucking shilling out links. I wasn't shilling out links. I was posting up a video to a music. That's how Kev rolls.
Shilling.
But yeah, Kev's link is in the chat. But don't worry, he'll be banned shortly. So you guys only have a few moments to see it. God, fucking God, stop.
I'm putting out the link. I'm just follow me blindly. Don't just go Apple on this. Follow me.
Yeah.
Don't need to more. Just do it.
Yeah. In any case, you guys kind of know a lot of the drill on here. We have a Discord that they always forget to show for, that you guys can join in and pester us, and actually specifically pester even some of the former Pixel Crashers podcast members are also in that Discord, and you can get in there and harass them and say, why aren't you guys on the podcast anymore, Jeremy?
Sadly, we haven't had any Travis or Rachel sightings.
No. Well, Travis is busy with things.
Yeah, and I think after the whole Ravis thing ended.
Yep, pretty much.
She won't be coming back. Rip Ravis.
But yeah, so in any case, we also have a Pixel Crashers Twitter that I think is at the Pix Crashers, I think, because it wouldn't let me put Pixel. Fuck you, Twitter.
It's a dirty word.
Twitter, pull fucking Twitter names and just sit on them.
The Pix Crashers. Yeah, so in any case, there is also that. I'm on Twitter. Chances are you're watching my YouTube, or wow. I'm presumptuous. Chances are you're watching watching on our Twitch. I also have a YouTube that might be out there. I think the links are down there somewhere. I have to probably sort out a lot of links everywhere. So does Kev on his channel. We'll get that sorted out. Anyway, we're gonna get signed off here, guys. Hopefully nothing explodes. In the meantime, we'll be back next week with a party stream where we'll be playing something. Haven't decided yet, but we'll sort it out. We'll figure it out whenever it comes closer to time to that. Kev will try to get us to play Destiny, and we'll say, how about we play some Wildlands? We know how much Kev loves Wildlands. He really does.
We know I won't show for Wildlands.
It's his favorite game. Hey, they have a new event. They have a new event in Wildlands. There's a crossover from Rainbow Six Siege. I kind of think I might need to load up Wildlands just to check that out. Yeah. But you know.
So you know the best part of Rainbow Six Siege and Rainbow Six and Tom Clancy Wildlands? The uninstallation. The uninstallation was glorious.
That's because Kev does not do this whole tactical thing. His idea of tactical is I'm going to run right in front of the person shooting at me, and then also in front of my teammate who's shooting at that person that's shooting at you. So you get shot with bullets on both sides. That's Kev's idea. Is tactical. They don't have good flank routes. They do. You just don't know them.
It's called crossfire. Stay the fuck out the crossfire.
Yeah. He doesn't.
Maybe if y'all stop camping and pick up the pace, move.
It's not Call of Duty.
It is not Call of Duty, bro.
That's why I don't play it.
Hey, how about you sign up for Xfinity Internet, and then you too can get into the PS4 beta early. You know you want to, Kev. This is
my mother's Comcast first.
This is why I love what I do. It's so much fun because I get to come in here every week and rant about Kev. And throw him under the bus about everything, and it's really fun. Like, I don't think people really oftentimes get as much enjoyment out of this as I do, but you know. Also, let's get out that countdown time. You don't need to see. Goodbye. There's not a countdown timer. It's just eventually gonna happen in a few seconds.
I get not that timer, but just keep counting when it's done.
The internet is for porn and Nintendo. Why you think the net was born? Mario.